Lewis Hamilton exclusive, 2 threats to matching Michael Schumacher record revealed. It is the expert opinion of motorsport analyst Tony Jardine, who has picked out the duo as the 2 hottest prospects in F1. Became only the 3rd man in history to win 5 World Drivers' Championships when he came home in 4th at October's Mexican Grand Prix. And next on the Mercedes drivers' list of priorities will be surpassing Juan Manuel Fangio by securing his 6th crown in 2019. Schumacher, who enjoyed immense success with Benetton and Ferrari in the 1990s and 2000s, is out in front on 7 titles. Hamilton will have to scrap with closest rival Sebastian Vettel of Ferrari once again next year to go out in front of Fangio. But Jardine, who worked with Goodyear, Brabham, McLaren and Lotus in F1, has identified Red Bulls as one of his biggest threats. "I think it's possible," Jardine exclusively told Express Sport, when asked if Hamilton can match Schumacher's record. "I just think it's possible because he's already on 73. 91 wins for Michael Schumacher and 7 titles. Lewis has signed a new 2-year contract and the regulations will stay pretty much the same." There's a big change to the front wing for next year, but the big regulation changes don't come in for 2 years, so there is a certain amount of stability. Who's gonna bet against him at this point? Other than you just look to the young, up-and-coming drivers who are going to be the threat. And you start with Verstappen. You say, well, core blimey, he is a precocious talent. Hamilton absolutely knows that Verstappen is going to be on his level in the next couple of years and is almost there now with 5 Grand Prix wins, but he's got to control his hot head. We love that passion, we want more of that, but give us the on-track entertainment. Vettel, who finished 2nd to Hamilton in the F1 standings this season, will be joined by Leclerc at Ferrari next year. And Jardine reckons Hamilton could end up ruined coming up against the former Sauber racer as he attempts to replicate his success. Then you have to look at Charles Leclerc coming into Ferrari. He is quite a talent, Jardine added. You look at the Azerbaijan race where he finished 6th in the Sauber and you think, wow. He's always been good and now he's got his reward. So we've got him. Verstappen and Leclerc will be among the 5 youngest drivers on the grid in 2019. Jardine is looking forward to seeing how George Russell and Lando Norris get on at Williams and McLaren respectively. Now we've got 2 new Brits joining in: George Russell, who just won the Formula 2 championship and is going to Williams, and Lando Norris, from Formula 2 as well, Jardine said. Both of those 2 have got impeccable CV so far. But Verstappen and Leclerc is where Lewis is looking to the threats that might prevent him from beating Schumacher's record. Hamilton and CO will begin the 2019 campaign with the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne next March. Next news: Mark Webber doubles down on Daniel Ricciardo fears. Legend Mark Webber has doubled down on his concerns for Daniel Ricciardo next season, saying once again he wished the Aussie star didn't leave Red Bull for Renault. Webber said earlier this year he told his countrymen to stay at Red Bull, claiming the decision to swap teams in 2019 has the potential to bring with it 2 more years of pain. Ricciardo made the call midway through the season to jump ship, signing a 2-year deal with Renault. But the French outfit's underwhelming performances have convinced Webber the 29-year-old may have made the wrong move. "I think we're all a bit concerned about it," Webber told Macquarie Sports Radio. "The people in the industry would have liked him to stay. I'm still reasonably close to Red Bull, as is my buddy, and former F1 star, David Coulthard, We've spoken about it often. I've had the odd dinner with Daniel, he knows where my position is on this, it hasn't changed. I would have loved him to stay at Red Bull. Ricciardo retired 8 times in 2018 as engine woes and mechanical failures contributed to a horror season. He finished 6th in the drivers' standings, well behind Mercedes' Valtteri Bottas in 5th, after his campaign was crippled by repeated failures to cross the finish line. But Red Bull has split with Renault as its engine supplier and will instead team up with new power unit provider Honda in 2019. It's a move the energy drink team is optimistic about and hopes will provide it with the power it needs to challenge big dogs Mercedes and Ferrari. Webber fears Ricciardo has quit Red Bull at a time when the team will improve with the introduction on Honda engines, meaning he will miss out on a chance to be part of the team's rejuvenation. I think the funding and the backing, and with Honda coming, I don't think Red Bull, will be incredibly strong next year, but by 2020, I think they could be a very special outfit to be with again, Webber said. To get the results that Red Bull are going to get next year is going to be challenging for him, to say the least. Renault, the team he's going to next year, they want budget caps, headcount caps, they want all sort of decreases in salaries across the board to get the parity of the sport up there. I think when you've just arrived there as a driver, and you have a team that's giving that sort of position, that's a concern. Last week Ricciardo opened up on his crushing 2018 that saw him struggle more than ever before. I don't want to overplay it like, man, I've been struggling, Ricciardo told Motorsport.com. In the scheme of things I've been handling it well, and I wouldn't say that my everyday life has suffered from it. But for sure, the racing and the emotions I've felt over the course of a race weekend have been more than I've ever experienced before. With the mental side, it's just been about trying to overcome these hurdles and the constant failures and trying to pick myself back up. I haven't had to do that so repetitively in a season before. Those constant failures played a part in Ricciardo deciding to defect, saying he needed a fresh challenge. Renault has admitted it won't be in a position to push for a world title in the immediate future, but Ricciardo was impressed by the long-term vision of the team when it was courting his signature. The 29-year-old agonized over the decision to leave Red Bull. He said the uncertainty that engulfed him while he was trying to make the biggest decision of his life took plenty of juice out of him and left him feeling drained. It was more that time around the decision and the contract talks and all that, Ricciardo said. That took some energy out of me, just going back and forth and trying to figure out what was best for me in terms of my future. That took a bit of a toll and I lost some sleep over the course of that period, but once I made the decision, I feel like it took some weight off my shoulders and my mind has been clearer. Next news: McLaren's lesson from Van Dorn affair. McLaren has learnt its lessons from its time with Stoffel Van Dorn, and is now ready to make changes to avoid such situations in the future, says team boss Zak Brown. The team's new sporting director Gilda Ferran's primary role is to ensure drivers work along with the rest of the team as one big unit, Brown revealed. Van Dorn was considered to be one of the biggest upcoming drivers in the series. The Belgian had an unimpressive stint in F1, mostly due to a disappointing car over the last 2 years. Van Dorn was left without a race seat for 2019 when the Woking team replaced him with Lando Norris to drive along Carlos Sainz. Looking back at the unsuccessful partnership, Brown admitted the problem came from both sides. He is hoping to avoid the same mistakes next year with their new lineup. Brown said the Ferrari has to ensure everyone gels, including the driver. Someone like Stoffel is an extremely good race car driver, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out, Brown said. We take some responsibility for that and want to understand why this driver had such a great pedigree, but it didn't work out, and we don't want to replicate that where we may have got that wrong or contributed to that lack of success. One of the things that we recognized is I think we need some additional racers in the McLaren family. When you look at Gill's pedigree, first and foremost as a driver, then as an IndyCar team owner, then as a sports car owner, he's got a well-rounded understanding, having won championships with Roger Penske, of what success looks like from many different aspects of the garage, including sitting in the cockpit. One of Gill's primary roles is to make sure that everyone gels, including the driver. So he'll be spending time both with Lando and Carlos, making sure that we give them the best environment to work in. Van Dorn has found a race seat at Mercedes-backed HWA Racelab squad in Formula E for the 2019 season. He finished 16th in his debut race. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to share and subscribe to your channel to get the latest sports news around the world. Wished health and success. Goodbye.